Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Jakejames Lugo, and welcome to the channel, where you'll find some of the most fair and honest game reviews out here. So it's been a hot minute since we checked in with SNK. We haven't reviewed a whole bunch of games from that company, but let's take a look at one that I feel like a lot of people never really heard of. I think it's mostly because many people, even back in the day during the PlayStation 2 era, a lot of people never really talked about it or got to play it when it was actually on that console. But let's take a look at it now and see if it's worth diving into. SNK is a brand that has a lot of beloved franchises and characters that haven't always gotten a big break. And yet, SNK decided to mash up some of their franchises from the Neo Geo platform into one big fighting game. This is Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, released in 2005 for Japanese arcades and later got ported to the PlayStation 2 and brought to North America in 2007. This is a tag team fighting game that's similar to the first Marvel vs. Capcom game, where you control two characters that you could switch between in battle. The big thing here is the inclusion of so many SNK characters from different Neo Geo franchises. The game includes series like Fatal Fury, The King of Fighters, as well as also lesser known hits like The Last Blade, Athena, and even World's Heroes. But is this SNK gathering a good fighting game you'll want to play through? That's the big question.
No escape! Fight!
So a few things about this game. While I think it's very cool we have such a diverse roster of characters from all these different SNK series, in that regard I think it's pretty cool. The big problem with this, however, is that unless you played any of those games, you're not going to know who any of these characters are, let alone care about who they are in the first place. And that's a weird thing to say because you could say the same thing about Super Smash Bros., or at least a game like that with its Fire Emblem characters. The problem here with the SNK games is that some of them never came here to North America, or some of them are so small with their dedicated audiences that the majority of people out there that are the masses that play a lot of the big popular games, they're not going to know who any of these people are. It's a good introduction to them, no less, but still, like, you're not going to know anybody else outside of maybe the King of Fighters games or the Fatal Fury games, maybe Metal Slug because of the main hero from that series, but the rest of them, from some of these more obscure titles, you're just not going to know who they are, and you're probably not going to care. The other thing too is that there is a story here that kind of ties everybody together, or at least gives a reason why all these characters from different SNK series are coming together, like they're trying to make like this whole SNK world and stuff, but it's very shallow, it's very mediocre, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. None of these fighting game stories ever really truly do, but still, it's there if you want it, but you don't really need to engage with it or pay attention to it, and you'll still get the most of what this game is going to have to offer. I just wish that the story itself, or at least the plot, quote-unquote, that they came up with was maybe a little bit more thought out. That's not why you come to a game like this. You come here for the gameplay, for the fighting, specifically of that type of stuff. So is the gameplay itself in Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, is it any good? Is it at least, passable or acceptable for the average fighting game fan? Neo Geo Battle Coliseum plays very much like any King of Fighters or Fatal Fury game, but with a 5-button system instead of a traditional Neo Geo 4-button layout. While you have light and strong attacks, and the same techniques from other KOF games, you also have an extra button for switching between your characters mid-battle. This is important for a couple of reasons, both offensively and defensively. You could play aggressively and double team an opponent with a double assault, which brings in your partner for a full-on attack. Or you could be on the defense with a guard cancel tag attack to switch out and heal a damaged character. You have to pay attention to your health in here with all of this because a knockout on any character means that you'll lose the round. This isn't like Marvel vs. Capcom where you can make a comeback with the last team member, so you have to be smart and know when to advance or retreat during a match.
Get ready! No escape! Fight!
But what about the selection of characters in here? Is the roster good overall? While I enjoy seeing a diverse roster among the SNK franchises that are featured, some definitely have more options than others. You only get a few characters to play with from franchises like Metal Slug, King of the Monsters, and Athena, and yet there's more than 4 characters to pick from with Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury, and a few others. The balance of the gameplay overall is definitely tilted depending on who you choose to play with. Some characters have ridiculous advantages over others, making you work harder against the computer in more ways than one. So the game modes in here are pretty shallow overall. You got all your standard fare from your average fighting game, like arcade mode, survival, multiplayer, all that jazz. And I think that's totally fine. You also have some unlockable content depending on what you do during the course of arcade mode. Whether it's you do like a certain amount of supers, whether you get a certain amount of perfects, you defeat certain boss characters, all that is fine and dandy, and you get to unlock some of those characters. However, the big thing that, like with every other SNK fighting game, that I just cannot stand are these difficulty spikes. Let me tell you, oh my god, the difficulty spikes and the cheapness and borderline cheating that the CPU does in this game is still like legendary levels for SNK, because it's insane just how the computer just runs through some of your attacks. It completely just reads your button inputs. It destroys you for free, like if you were a total scrub, even though you might have been playing the game for quite a while. Like every character that the computer gets a hold on, especially the boss characters, is ridiculous. Like it gets it to the point where it's not fun to play through. Even if you're a die-hard SNK fan, every SNK fighting game fan knows that the CPU cheats, because it just does that because it's trying to eat your quarters. So you kind of gotta, cheat around that type of stuff. But still, it doesn't make it any more fun to play through despite knowing all that. It's just a real pain in the butt, and it's something that I just cannot stand with every single SNK game out there. It's just the way it is. And I get it. It's like a meme at this point. That's like a characteristic of classic, like early 2000s or late 90s SNK games, but still, I find it to be a flaw in at least, in the way that the game is designed, because I feel like more people would probably know about this more often and probably play it a little bit more if it wasn't for stuff like that. Outside of like all the franchises that are included in here being so niche, I feel like little quality of life stuff like that will give this game more attention, but man, SNK just doesn't care. Like, it just goes through your stuff and just beats you down and then points and laughs at you. It's like, it's a thing, for real. So if you enjoy playing fighting games or are just a big fan of SNK in general, should you even bother going out of your way to play this? Can I recommend that you check out Neo Geo Battle Coliseum on the PlayStation 2? I would say no. I don't think this game holds up very well, even for the most hardcore SNK fan. The fighting is good for a brief time, but quickly loses its charm afterwards, and there are far better tag team fighting games from this era specifically that are just a lot more fun to play through. I do enjoy seeing different SNK series get featured in here, but I do wish that the roster was evened out a little bit more with the number of characters from each series. If you're a big fighting game fan, then you could definitely satisfy your curiosity by checking this out. Otherwise, you're not really missing out on a lot if you decide to skip over it. And to be honest with you, I think that's the better option.
You lose.
And there you go, everyone. Those are my thoughts about Neo Geo Battle Coliseum on the PlayStation 2. Look, I get it. I love crossover fighting games like anybody else. I love big mashups and like just combinations of different series. That stuff is cool. We got some great mashups out there. Capcom versus SNK, Marvel versus Capcom, Namco cross Capcom, Project Cross Zone, Super Smash Bros., Jump Force, even though that game was pretty terrible. But the point is, there's some cool crossover ideas out there. But every once in a while, like Jump Force, you get a dud kind of like this. And it's a shame because I know that people love SNK characters. They love like classic SNK games, but a couple tweaks here and there, this game would have been so much more better. But as always, with any other game that I review on this channel, that's just my opinion about Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. Let me know some of your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Tell me, are you a big SNK fan? Do you love playing through fighting games? Do you love going through crossover games, like whether it's fighting game or otherwise? Tell me some of the characters that you would love to see in an SNK crossover like this one. What are the franchises you want to see get included? And even should SNK do another game like this down the line? Like, how cool would that be, or terrible would that idea be? Talk to me about that stuff down below in the comment section. This channel is sponsored by Flynn's Arcade and More, located in Margate, Florida. Flynn's is one of the premier spots for gaming fans in South Florida. They have a variety of arcade games on cabinet for you to play throughout the week, including all of your beloved classics. You could also play a ton of new and current console games too, on PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo consoles. Grab a snack or drink and enjoy the best gaming experience you'll find. Visit during one of their many big events to connect with the gaming community in South Florida. Want to test your skills in competitive fighting games? Join any of the weekly tournaments that happen at Flynn's for a chance for some cool prizes. And if you're into tabletop gaming or model kit building, there's a bunch of events there for you too. Swing by Flynn's Arcade and More, located in Margate Boulevard in Margate, Florida. You won't find a better spot than Flynn's. Hey, thanks everyone for watching this video. I appreciate your support as always, and hope that you can subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. I'll have a few more great ones for you to check out in the end cards afterwards. Don't forget you could join my Discord server via the link in the description to be part of the community and come hang out with everyone, talking games and more. I hope to see you around again sometime soon. Peace out, and stay epic everyone.